Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back out with another video for you guys, and I am back to review Supergirl. Yes, I know. There has already been like 2 episodes of the return of Supergirl season 6 so far. And yeah, so in this episode, I'm going to cover when the series, I guess returner episode, and I'm going to talk about last week's episode. I keep forgetting that they go on Wednesdays. And second of all, let you guys know if I'm going to be reviewing and doing the videos up after on Wednesday after the episode airs. No, because I'm in class at that point in time, so there's no way in hell that's happening. So yeah, and then 2, Stargirl reviews will go up on Wednesday, probably Wednesday's morning. Also, today, I have to coach practice pretty late tonight, so I'll have to watch it in the morning and then freaking review it in the morning. But anyways, let's talk about this last 2 episodes of Supergirl. Now, we're going to talk about episode 8 of Supergirl. So episode 8 of Supergirl mostly kind of covered the fact that, Kara, after coming back from the whole Phantom Zone thing, is still kind of affected by the Phantoms, and the fact that she still has a fear of the Phantoms. To be honest, I don't blame her. Those things seem like they're really freaking scary and stuff like that. Now, when she ends up getting back to Catco, let's just say she kind of pissed off Andrea because the lie was being, I guess you could say, told. But essentially, Andrea's kind of whole thing, I'm guessing that they're doing in the back half of the season, which I personally don't think. It's kind of uninteresting. It kind of takes the Andrea character to make her out more like a freaking annoying ass, girl. But essentially, from what I've seen so far, Andrea's whole storyline is getting Catco to be like the #1 news source where everybody goes to listen to. And essentially, it starts in episode 8 to where she's upset at the fact that, Catco's, number 8 in the rankings of national media news sites and stuff like that. And she essentially gets on the freaking people who work at Catco saying, we need to be #1 or close to the top. Otherwise, I'll just go get a new squad, our new people to come in and fill in for your jobs. So far in episode 8 and 9, this has been her whole story line. Listen, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't intrigue me. It honestly annoys me, to be honest, because it's like, why the hell should being this number ranked, in terms of national news media mean the most? I think 8th place is still pretty good, because guess what? You're in the top 10. That means people still listen to you. By the time you get to episode 9, they're like 3rd. Now, don't ask me how they jumped so fucking high. No clue, and stuff like that. So, yeah. In other news, continue with episode 8. We see the satellite start dropping, and when Zor-El and Kara stop the satellite, they see a bunch of waste trash in the water, which is from the DEO. Now, Kara brings this up to Andrea, like, the fact that this whole trash thing in the ocean could have ties to Lex. Well, she completely puts William on that job to figure out. But by the time William finds out, essentially, he finds no given leads and essentially says, well, it's just kind of trash there in the water. And the fact that, it's kind of the whole typical thing, like, we just need to take better care of our oceans and stuff like that. Essentially, episode 8 kind of was a whole climate change episode, because we know Supergirl, even though whether you feel like Supergirl's too woke and they just focus on very highly political things, well, if you're not a fan of climate change, I guess, well, here you go. This is a climate change episode, essentially. Just kind of hitting home the fact, like, hey, when you got trash, actually throw it. And actually, hopefully, you dispose of it quite nicely. You don't throw it in the trash or leave it on the ground to where, guess what? It hurts the Earth's environment, and stuff like that. So, yeah, essentially what happens is Zor-El has a plan to get rid of the trash waste because he sees that, well, the high levels of radiation and stuff like that are like similar to Krypton and everything before it exploded. And essentially, he says like your water's going to be disappearing. So they get the AI unit Oscar to try to take out the trash. Excuse me, to take out the trash. But what happens is he gets corrupted, really by the trash because it's just a waste of DEO stuff. He turns into like a huge trash golem and everything, and stuff like that. Now, because of this, essentially what Brainy comes with the idea is like, well, we got to trash this whole thing, and stuff like that. We gotta take out Oscar, but Zor-El is like, we can't because it's gonna get rid of everything, and so like that. He kind of loses a bit, saying, I'm just trying to save Krypton, but in reality, he realized, oh shit, this isn't Krypton, this is Earth. Eventually he gives in, he's like, okay, we got to do what we have to do, because essentially if, Oscar continued on, he would have exploded on the size of like essentially an atomic bomb, which would have made it a lot worse than anything else and would have killed a lot of people. So essentially the thing is, throughout this entire fight, Supergirl's thinking about the whole phantom attacks and her fears and everything, but she eventually overcomes those fears and stuff like that. Also, I forgot to mention another thing Kara is also going through in this episode is the fact that her story she has to report on is talking to Supergirl, well, technically herself, or getting word from Supergirl about the whole phantom attack, which we saw in the first half of the season. So yeah, and she was kind of thrown off because of the story episode. She didn't want to talk about phantoms or anything. But anyway, she overcomes her fear about the phantoms and stuff like that, and she ends up taking out the trash golem and stuff like that. She takes the trash, after they take out Oscar, she takes the trash golem, literally flies up into space, throws it into the sun. Man, I'll just say this. If we had a freaking superhero that could get rid of all the trash and everything like that in the world, and freaking just go into space and take it to the sun, hey, that would be great. But we don't have that. Essentially, the episode ends off with the fact that Zor-El knows that his time on Earth isn't really here, and he makes up his mind that he's going to go back to Argo City. He essentially kind of blames himself for the destruction of Krypton, but Kara tells him like, it's not your fault for what happened. Things happen for a reason. And also, I guess you can say Zor-El kind of tells his daughter Kara, like, listen, even though you're Kryptonian, it's okay to be human and show that fear, because she was obviously scared and everything. So yeah. And just mostly from the standpoint that things are not going to go her way every time just because, well, she's a superhero and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, going back to near the end of the episode, when Andrea was kind of sneaking around into the whole area about the whole trash thing, eventually, she later finds out what William said was true. She eventually publishes William's article. And this is when she gets even crazier and more loopy than she already is. She's like, well, guess what? Here's the best way we can be number one. Let's get information on Supergirl and her friends, or what they call the Super Friends. Like how I've been calling them in the last few reviews, the Super Team or whatever. So the Super Friends. So she essentially wants news on the Super Team, or the Super Friends, and Supergirl and the Super Friends, and stuff like that. And she tells William, I don't care, spy on every one of them. We have to, which will lead me to believe that I feel like Kara eventually her identity is going to be revealed to William, probably soon, because William's going to be following her, especially when you see him in episode 9. He's kind of now gung-ho about having Supergirl in all these articles of his. So I just have a feeling that Kara's going to slip up, and William's going to see her, and she's going to see that, he's a Supergirl, or she's a Supergirl. Also, too, I guess they dropped the Kara-William romance angle as well, because apparently William says he's seen some new girl. Listen, I've always said Kara's whole relationship this entire series has been kind of a kerfuffle in terms of how they handled her romance angles. Like, they always set her up with some guy, and then it never ends up going all the way. Essentially turning it into, it's like a serious relationship for a while, and then they have to break it off because, I have my responsibilities for this and stuff like that, and it just doesn't work. So again, out of all the CW shows, I would say Kara has the worst luck with boy material type of things. We all thought that, well, guess what? Kara and William were going to get together. Guess not. So they dropped that angle. So it's another failed love interest. Unless they hook them up late at the end of the season. I don't know. I don't think they are because Mon-El's going to come back. Apparently, Mon-El's coming back. So I'm guessing they're just going to hook Kara up with Mon-El because truly that's the one person Kara really truly loves. Anyway, so yeah. So that's the thing. And then the episode kind of ends off with Lena going back to her birth home because that was kind of her story of the episode, just the whole her and Dreamer about their mothers and stuff like that, and everything. Kara talks to Alex about her experience in the Phantom Zone, and really the episode ends off with Nia in her dream world essentially running into Nixie, which we'll get into episode 9. I thought episode 8 was I thought it was a solid episode. Nothing too crazy happened. That was all right for what it was. I would say it was a nice return to the whole fact that Kara's back on Earth and everything. Anyways, episode 9. Yeah, so Andrea's still in her Super Friends bullshit. And she's telling Kara, you need to get an interview with Supergirl. And William, find somebody and stuff like that. So yeah. Essentially, the premise of this show is kind of centered around Kelly and everything. So essentially, the whole thing here is Kelly goes over to this foster home that holds children, alien children. And essentially, you find out this one little boy has a brother, has an older brother. I forgot what the older brother's name was. But essentially, he's in prison because he committed an act. But the thing is, the little brother's kind of cutting up in the foster home because last time he saw his brother look like he's like very weak and tired and everything. And we find out that his species of alien, the more they use their EMP powers, the more the quicker they essentially die. They're on the road to death. And I'm like, what type of freaking alien type powers that fucking kill them? Anyways, so that's the whole thing there, and that's kind of the whole episode. Now, the side plot in this whole thing was Nia's encounters with Nixie. I'll get into that in I'll get into that. So essentially, we know Nia has kind of been bummed out about, her mom's death, and she's trying to see so desperately her mom. Listen, I'm not gonna blame you, but at this point, can Nia just move on? She has a mommy complex now. I want to see you, mommy. I want to see you, mommy. To the point, you have Nixie appear in her freaking dreams, lying to her like Nixie lied to fucking Kara in the Phantom Zone. And Nixie's like, I'm trying to get back, to my home realm area and stuff like that. I have no access to my magic. I'm using my magic to get into your dream sequence and everything and stuff like that. And you have specifically the owl, this owl literally in Nia's dream telling her, don't listen to her. She's lying. Don't listen, Nia. Don't listen. And freaking, I found this whole scene funny because Nixie is like, you can't listen to them. Owls are disgusting creatures. They feed on the flesh of humans and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. Now, I haven't looked into owls much. I don't know if owls are carnivores. I know they're carnivores to other animals, I guess, but I don't know if they actually attack fucking humans. I think they do. If you mess with an owl, I think owls are actually kind of mean. I'm like, come on, Nia. I'm like, Nia looks all sus and everything. She's like, this girl looks sus. And by the time you get to the end of the episode, oh yeah, she totally goes away from them because she's so desperate to see her mommy. And she ends up taking out the damn owl at the end of the episode, and she's gonna help Nixie with her plan, which isn't gonna go well because guess what? Nixie is not a good person. Kara would know that. And again, why does Dreamer or Nia not talk to Kara about this? No idea, because every time we have these CW shows, it's always an ally of the good team, always hiding something. And at the last minute, it all messes up by the end. And then guess what? It ends up being something where the main hero is screwed over by their friend not telling them what the hell they're doing. Listen, I may sound like I'm kind of pissed off about this angle route. I just kind of hate. The thing is about this storyline is I kind of hate is I don't hate the fact that Dreamer wants to see your mom. Listen, I guarantee you everybody who has a parent pass away wants to get at least one chance to talk to them, their parents, one chance to have some closure. And I'm guessing this is the whole thing to Nia's arc, getting that closure about her mom's death. Now, the only thing I freaking hate from the standpoint is you have Nia trusting somebody that looks fucking sus. Hell, at the end of the episode, she's even smiling in a very sus way. And I'm like, come on, have you seen that smile? How can you assist her? Like, let's be a little bit realistic here. Anyways, we know Nixie's gonna do something to betray Nia and lie to Nia because that's what Nixie has been doing this entire season. And I'm guessing Nixie is the big bad of season 6 of Supergirl. Again, I've already said my things on Nixie. I think Nixie was the main big bad. I think that's kind of underwhelming for a final season to have just a magician be the final big bad. Like, shit, I would have taken fucking Lex Luthor unless they're saving the Lex Luthor for Superman and Lois eventually. Anyways, so that's the whole Nixie-Nia storyline, and that's gonna create freaking problems. I didn't watch the next episode preview, so I don't know what's that. I'm probably gonna watch the next episode preview after I'm done with this video. But the main storyline is essentially after, after Kelly goes to see the kid, after sees this, she goes to Kara. They go by the prison. We go talk to, obviously, the warden of this prison. And essentially, we find out that there's like a second chance program for these convicts to do some good while they're incarcerated. Now, the thing is, they ask like, oh, well, guess what? We just want to know if he was okay and everything. But, and they ask to see if they can see, obviously, the guy. But no, the warden's like, yeah, I'm sorry. You can't see him unless you have an appointment. So Kara and Kelly, they kind of force their way in. They eventually go see what's going on. They see that the convicts are going into this van and everything. Kara follows them as Supergirl and essentially sees that, well, guess what? This officer is making the cops, are making these convicts do these things. And at the same time, we also find that there's a bomb being built by aliens. We later find out it's these guys making the bombs and stuff like that. So essentially what happens is, with the help of William, Kara and William essentially find out that, well, guess what? The warden of the prison essentially is corrupt, and he's getting money for this second chance program. And kind of the whole thing, I guess the whole message in this episode is the fact that, well, power, when somebody of a higher up has power, well, guess what? They're gonna do whatever they want to get, I guess, any types of financial rewards and stuff like that and everything. So, listen, okay, Supergirl is kind of the one CW show that has like these hidden messages within their episodes. Like I said, episode 8, climate change. This is kind of a message saying, listen, don't get too envious of your power, otherwise you turn into a corrupt person. So yeah, they find out the mayor's, they find out the warden is corrupt, and he's also in on this project, and he knows what these convicts are really doing. And essentially these convicts have no free will, even though they were told, guess what, this is your chance to do something and maybe lower your sentences or something like that. Also, before we had the final fight, we see Kelly walk into the foster home, and we see that the foster lady is kind of treating the kids all mean and everything. Like, she's forcing like the kids not to use their power, and it's actually hurting them. Eventually what Kelly does later is she essentially gets the video recording of what she did to that little kid. And essentially by the end of the episode, that lady is arrested. The foster lady is arrested, which, hey, cool. I mean, guess what? You can't hide, because guess what? When you got a camera somewhere, they see what you're doing. Yes. But anyways, they eventually find the convicts. Now the convicts, stupidly enough, run away after Kara's like, we'll get you help. But the reason why they run away is because they don't know who to trust. They don't know if they can trust anybody to be like, hey, I just don't know if I can do this. We were told we get our freedom this way. You know, we can't believe you. What makes you so different? And essentially, Kara gives a nice speech saying, listen, you can do the right things and stuff like that. So essentially, you know, the older brother, you know, trusts her. So what happens is the warden gets arrested. The freaking foster lady gets arrested as well for treating the kids harshly. I like the whole fact that the one little girl talks to Kelly. She's like, it was you, wasn't it? And Kelly's like, just keep it between us and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's the whole thing. Andrea is definitely happy about this from the standpoint that, well, William actually interviewed Supergirl after the whole, you know, this whole thing, and that's what she was happy about. She's like, you know what, Kara, you can take steps, because early in the episode, Kara kind of lashed out at Andrea saying, you know, ratings shouldn't matter, or where we're ranked shouldn't matter, and stuff like that. And she kind of lashes out on Andrea saying, why does it matter? And Andrea's like, well, then, okay. Technically, if Andrea was really much of a jerk, she could have just fired Kara right then and there. So, yeah. Hey, look, I could see it if this gets to the point where it's getting too annoying for Kara. I could definitely see her quitting Catco and saying, I'd rather just go write my own freaking paper and stuff like that. Who cares? So I definitely feel like we could be getting a Kara quitting Catco soon. Hey, it'd be interesting. It'd be almost like Lois and how in Superman and Lois, how Lois quit the Daily Planet and stuff like that. So, you know, you could be taking an angle like there, and stuff like that. We also see, like I said, Williams kind of now more gung-ho getting interviews with Supergirl, because she's like, the people are going to listen to her, and stuff like that. And honestly, hey, I think it's in my best interest to do this story, and that's why I feel like eventually he's going to find out that Kara is Supergirl. It's only a matter of time before he finds out, and stuff like that. I'm trying to recall anything. Oh yes, and then the episode ends also too with Kelly coming back home, realizing that she did good for the community and she wants to do more for the community. And Alex essentially we find out that Alex called James, and James sent her the Guardian mask and everything. And essentially the fact is, this is when Kelly essentially accepts her role to become Guardian, because that was the one thing we found out already before the season started, that Kelly was going to become the new Guardian. So she's going to be the new Guardian in replacement for James. Hey, fine with me. I guess another super friend, I guess you can say. So yeah, I thought this episode 9 was honestly better than episode 8. But definitely happy that Supergirl is back. Again, Supergirl and Stargirl are the only things left. So yeah, but we only got a few more episodes till the end of the series of Supergirl. But other than that, guys, if you guys liked the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of Supergirl, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Supergirl episode reviews till the end of the season, or any of the other CW DC shows, probably more than likely Stargirl, and stuff like that. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get over. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, or now we're checking out this video. Until then, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.